The world of combat sports was fractured today, not by a punch, but by a post. Moments ago, the single biggest star in MMA history, Conor McGregor, declared all-out war on his boss, Dana White. He didn't just throw accusations, he dropped receipts. Screenshots of alleged private text messages, shocking contract clauses, and venomous allegations of betrayal that threatened to burn the UFC empire to the ground. The fallout has been seismic. Legends like Jon Jones and Nate Diaz are choosing sides. The UFC's parent company is feeling the financial heat, and respected journalists like Ariel Helwani are calling this the moment the dam finally broke. Tonight, we dissect every piece of evidence from McGregor's digital blitzkrieg, analyze the frantic defense from a cornered Dana White, and explore the civil war that could change the UFC forever.
It began without warning, a quiet afternoon shattered by a notification that echoed across the globe. On his X and Instagram accounts, Conor McGregor posted a multi-image carousel with a caption that read, "The truth for the fighters." The first image was a screenshot of an alleged text exchange. In it, a contact, saved as Dana, appears to dismiss another champion's pay demands with the shocking line, "He thinks he's a star. He's a fucking employee. Tell him to get in line." The second leak was even more explosive. A highlighted clause from what McGregor claimed was a rookie contract. It stipulated that the UFC could use a fighter's likeness in perpetuity for any purpose without any additional compensation, even after they were cut from the roster. The final post was personal, a long text accusing White of promising him a stake in the company that never materialized. McGregor's words were pure fire. "For all the PPVs I sold, all the records I broke, I was fed lies. This isn't for me anymore. This is for the next generation who will be bled dry by this tyrant. The king is back to burn the throne."
The UFC's public relations machine, normally a fortress of silence, went into red alert. Within an hour, Dana White appeared on a hastily arranged Instagram Live, his face flushed with rage. "You want to hear what I think?" he bellowed into the camera. "I think Conor McGregor is drinking that trash whiskey of his and making things up. The guy is a multi-millionaire because of me, because of this company. We gave him everything. This is the ultimate betrayal." But the rage was quickly followed by a more calculated corporate response. A few hours later, the UFC released an official statement calling the leaks fabricated, baseless, and a pathetic attempt to stay relevant. They announced they were pursuing all available legal options for defamation and breach of contract. This two-pronged attack was classic Dana. First, the raw, emotional denial to his fan base, followed by the cold corporate threat of legal annihilation. He wasn't just defending himself, he was sending a message to every other fighter on the roster. Step out of line, and this is what happens to you. As the MMA world tried to make sense of the chaos, all eyes turned to Ariel Helwani. A journalist who was once famously banned by Dana White for breaking news, Helwani's analysis was seen as the ultimate litmus test. On a special episode of the MMA Hour, his verdict was damning for the UFC. "Let's be very clear," Helwani began. "While the personal attacks are debatable, the contractual and pay issues McGregor is highlighting are the story here. For over a decade, fighters have complained about this in private. The difference is Conor has FU money. He cannot be silenced, he cannot be bullied, and he cannot be cut. This is not just another fighter dispute. This is a referendum on the UFC's business model, broadcast by the very man who helped build it. The genie is out of the bottle, and no amount of legal threats from the UFC can put it back in." Helwani's words gave the entire scandal a new layer of legitimacy, framing it as a historic turning point for fighter rights.
The shockwaves were felt far beyond social media. They hit Wall Street hard. TKO Group Holdings, the parent company of the UFC and WWE, saw its stock price take a significant dip in after-hours trading. Financial analysts immediately began to weigh in. On Bloomberg, one expert noted, the issue for TKO isn't just one disgruntled star, it's the allegation of systemic underpayment. This could attract federal scrutiny, impact upcoming media rights negotiations, and potentially trigger a class action lawsuit from other fighters. McGregor has exposed a reputational and financial risk that investors are now taking very seriously. This wasn't just drama anymore. It was a multi-million-dollar problem. The very foundation of the UFC's financial model, maximum control and minimum pay share, was being publicly eviscerated.
If McGregor's attack was the explosion, Jon Jones's reaction was the deadly quiet that followed. Jones, whose own battles with Dana White over pay are the stuff of legend, went to X and posted a single cryptic sentence, "I tried to tell you all in 2020. He then followed it up with, "Some people only speak truth when they no longer need anything." The message was clear and devastating. It was a direct shot at McGregor for only speaking up now, but it was also a complete validation of the substance of his claims. Jones, the GOAT, was confirming that this tyrannical behavior was real. He was the respected elder statesman of the sport, calmly nodding and saying, "Yes, everything that young man is screaming about is true."
Caught in the crossfire were figures like Daniel Cormier, a former two-division champion turned UFC commentator. DC has a foot in both worlds. On his show DC and RC, he addressed the situation with visible discomfort. "This is tough for me," Cormier admitted. "I know both of these guys. Dana White has always treated me and my family with respect, but I've also been in those contract negotiations. I know the frustration. Conor is not entirely wrong in what he's fighting for, but his methods are destructive. You can't just burn the whole house down. What happens to all the other fighters, the employees, the people who depend on this company?" Cormier's perspective represented the silent majority, those who recognized the truth in McGregor's words but feared the chaos of a full-blown revolution. It was the voice of a veteran who wanted reform, not destruction. And then there was the man left waiting in the wings, Michael Chandler. After years of patiently waiting for his red panty night, Chandler saw his golden ticket going up in flames. His reaction was one of pure exasperation. In an Instagram video, dripping with sweat from a workout, he looked into the camera and said, "Conor, what are we doing? You've been talking about fighting me for 2 years. Now you're fighting with your laptop? Get off social media, get in the gym, and come face the biggest fight of your life. Or is this just another excuse?" Chandler cleverly turned the narrative, framing McGregor not as a freedom fighter, but as a diva avoiding a real fight. It was a strategic move to redirect the pressure and remind the fans what they were truly missing out on: the fight itself. And while the Stockton kingpin himself has remained silent, it's not hard to imagine Nate Diaz's reaction. One can almost picture him lighting up a joint and posting a raw, unfiltered video. "Ha! Look at this motherfucker," we can hear him saying. "Conor's finally talking all that fighter rights shit now that he's got $1 billion. Where was all this energy when you were Dana's little pet? I was telling you guys for 15 years they were fucking us. They shelved me, they tried to starve me out, but I never kissed the ring. So yeah, Dana's a tyrant. The sky is blue. What's new? Real one's been new. Conor's just mad he's not the favorite kid anymore. Don't be scared, homie. Welcome to the party, pal." Nate's hypothetical words would be the ultimate dose of reality, supporting the cause while simultaneously stripping McGregor of his self-proclaimed heroism. The lines have been drawn in a war for the soul of the UFC. Conor McGregor, the prodigal son, has returned to burn down his father's kingdom. His attack has exposed deep fractures within the sport, pitting star against president, fighter against the system. The reactions tell the whole story. Jon Jones' quiet, knowing confirmation, Daniel Cormier's conflicted loyalty, Michael Chandler's career frustrations, and Nate Diaz's eternal, unfiltered truth. Dana White and the UFC are now facing their greatest existential threat, not from a rival promotion, but from the very icon they created. McGregor has started a fire, and the question that hangs heavy in the air is no longer about contracts or clauses. It's about legacy. Will Conor McGregor be remembered as a bitter, fading star lashing out, or as the revolutionary who finally broke the system? The fighting world holds its breath because this war is far from over.